When you think about the exit opportunities, there really is three fundamental paths. I mean, you can go public, be acquired by a strategic, or be acquired by private equity. Going public, that's the most control, continuity of culture and continuity of team. So I think if that's what you're optimizing for, I think that is the right path if you can get there. It is the hardest path to get to, obviously. And you have to be willing to then, deal with the fact you're a public company and then kind of the overhead and cost and loss of flexibility that will, likely be a result of that. The other path is a strategic acquirer. Again, you're selling your company, and I haven't done that, but at that point, I think you're also having to accept the fact that once that happens, the company you built is going to forever change. Culture is going to change. You're likely dealing with then a lot of political pressure and probably other side of that door, a lot of competing and contests around influence and control. I haven't experienced that directly, but that's what I understand, and I'm quite sure is the case. And then on the private equity side, it's kind of a blend, right? And so you have the benefit of you still are going to be running your company. Your team is still going to be intact. It's just that the private equity firm is going to have some different expectations of how you operate the business. And generally, that expectation is going to be when you're a VC-backed company, you've been prioritizing growth over all things. It's going to be, now it's time to get profitable. And they're going to put EBITDA targets in place, and they're going to, expect you to work towards those new, EBITDA targets pretty quickly and pretty aggressively. And that will have some impact on the company in terms of how you think and how you operate. The right private equity firm, though, will bring in a lot of help and a lot of guidance, support in that process in terms of how you can get there. But it does become a significant mindset shift. One thing I observed across time, I think this is natural, is when you are venture-backed, and every couple of years you're raising a new tranche of capital, you tend to think first of solving problems with the application of cash. We can solve this by spending more, by hiring somebody else. Once you become a PE-backed company, it is generally becomes more, how do you reallocate capital to solve those same problems? How do you restructure to solve problems or challenges? Or how do you spend a little bit less to hit those EBITDA targets and get to profitability? And so it is a different type of operating model and operating mode. And it can be a hard one to shift into when you have years of learned muscle memory across the organization of the way we solve problems is by the application of capital. And when you no longer can do that, it's more we need to think about how we can restructure capital, use capital more effectively, more efficiently, and in some cases make hard decisions as a result of that. That can create some stress and some strain for sure. And there I think you want to just, ideally find a PE partner who's not going to put, I think one of the challenges that comes about on the private equity side is they can put at times such aggressive EBITDA targets in place that the shift to hit those can potentially be damaging to the culture and the fabric of the business. And I think that's where the balance is. And I think that's honestly where when you're negotiating that deal, and then post-deal around that board table, trying to make sure you find the right balance of pace, towards that positive EBITDA shift. Because if it's overly aggressive, I think there can be unforeseen costs and consequences.